Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark, from across the world. Julie, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Joe. I'm super hopped up on extra loads of coffee today. So I apologize in advance if I talk too fast or anything else like that today. I know I might be hopped up on the coffee. You might need to be drinking some coffee right now because what time is it? It's almost 9 p.m. Tell us where you're at.
Yeah, it's 9 p.m. or just about 9 p.m. here in Jerusalem, Israel, where we're here for a little vacation. So you're gonna have to hold the coffee down for me.
That's right. I'll do that. I'll double down here for you. Well, I mean, obviously the van's not with you in Jerusalem.
Nope.
Anybody who's been watching Joe on the Fantastic Life on all his social media activity there. So what's the story? Why are you in Jerusalem? What are you guys up to? And how long are you on?
Yeah, so Emily had a sabbatical from work, which is awesome. And we decided that we would take advantage of it and go someplace that we'd never gone before. And on the list was Israel because Emily has some family here. So we thought it would be a good time if we ever wanted to come to Israel to do it now. So we took the long flight that took about 24 hours total. And we've been exploring this really, really amazing, interesting, historical place.
Wow. And so you have gone to visit the birthplace of Jesus and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, we were in Bethlehem today, and we were in Tel Aviv the last few days, and then tomorrow we'll do some more exploring in Jerusalem, like the old city, which is supposed to be just really crazy.
Wow. I can't even imagine. I'm totally jealous. Where are you guys going after that? Like how long you're there for another few days and you've been there, you're there like a week or something, and then where are you going? I think we have a shared calendar, so I do see you're making a stop in Rome.
Yeah, so we're going to be here until Wednesday, I think, and then we jump over to Italy for another 3 weeks or so, something like that. And then we just travel through Italy, and I do my best to work, and Emily does her best to do nothing, which is awesome.
That is awesome. I'm trying to look at my calendar right now because I was looking, or maybe I'll look at your calendar. I was looking at my stuff the other day and I'm like, God dang it. Looking at, I'm sitting here trying to slave away and work, but I'm forced to look at Joe's calendar at the same time I'm doing my own calendar here and feeling a little jealous, needless to say. So good stuff. Well, let's kick it off here. We have with us today one of the funniest guys on the Seattle real estate scene, Mr. Troy Fisher. I think a lot of you listening know who Troy is, and just as a little side note, Troy is a professional home inspector with Lanika Home Inspection Services. One extra tip on that is that he's highly experienced from the investor point of view. So he does a lot of inspections for investors, and we'll jump into that with him today. He is also a credit building ninja. I don't know if you guys follow Troy on some of our social media threads and stuff, but this guy is secretly, I am just awed by some of the stuff you post on there, Troy. He is also his own crafty real estate investor, and we're going to hear more about that. A savage private lender. And also, let's see what else. We keep going about Troy here. He's the meetup host for the Cascadia Investors Alliance, and he is the hard-ass moderator for our favorite Facebook community, Washington Real Estate Investing, WARI, for all you guys. If you haven't joined WARI on Facebook, it's the most active Facebook community for real estate investors, at least here locally. And who even knows? I don't know. Troy can tell us how it fares outside of Washington. But most importantly, he is a fellow Coug. Go Coug.
Woo! Go Coug.
Troy, should we sing the Washington State fight song just to kick this off? I don't know. Well, we'll see.
No.
No? Okay, we won't do it. I've been brainwashed.
You would lose all your listeners.
I'll lose all my listeners. Good point on that. So we'll go Cougs, Huck the Fuskies, if you know what I'm saying there. And welcome Mr. Troy Fisher, one of the funniest men in real estate. The one and only. I always think that you and Dimitri should do like a stand-up comedy night because you guys are so damn funny. I actually, whenever I need a break, I just go on and see what either one of you guys is posting. Just cracks me up. So you guys need to jump on. If you guys, listeners out there, are looking for some funny stuff, jump on social media and follow Troy. Right on, brother. How's it going?
It's going good. You make me sound like I'm a busy guy. Man, I got that list of things, and then I spent the whole week just sitting at home, like, wondering what I'm doing with my life. But yeah, I guess that goes to show how everything just flows for me, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, you probably don't even realize how people perceive you and how multi-talented you are. I want to give a shout out to you because you're authentic. Just like Jan is authentic, you are authentic, and it is a breath of fresh air, much appreciated. You tell it like it is, which is how I hope that I, achieve or strive to be, is tell it like it is. And so today we're going to get to know you a little bit better and maybe have some laughs along the way. So Joe, kick us off with question numero uno, or as they say in Jerusalem, the numero uno question.
That was good. That was real good. So, question numero uno. Troy, we always like to get to know the people that we're interviewing a little bit better, and we'd love to step back in time and hear where you grew up, how you grew up, and how you got into being a real estate investor / inspector / coug / moderator, all that fun stuff.
Wow. Well, that takes 39 years to explain here, so let me give you the short version. Born on the Big Island of Hawaii. My parents had a restaurant that went belly up, and we left Hawaii for the Great Pacific Northwest. I went to school here, went to Juanita High School down in Kirkland, for any of you Reb fans out there. School was over, and my parents had spent years telling me that I should go to college. And the only reason I became a coug was because they had the latest admitted time frame, which was awesome. So I got into college. It was great. Being a coug's probably a big part of who I am on Saturdays during the spring and fall. So
we'll have to hang out and do some football stuff together. Get our fellow coug investors together.
That I was just thinking we should have like an Apple Cup investors thing at Jan's new church.
Yeah. That is a good idea.
Yeah.
So fun. No doubt.
So I'll talk to him. Let me write a note. So my first inkling of real estate, I was friends with this girl, and her second year, her parents bought her a house, like paid cash for this house. And they're like, hey, here's your house. We're not paying for college anymore. You've got to rent out the rooms and then pay for all your living expenses and books and things. They'll pay for tuition. And I was like, holy crap, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I went home that summer and I said, hey, Mom, Dad, can we do this? And they laughed at me and they said, you realize we're broke, right? So that was the start of this whole idea that you can have a different life than other people by investing in real estate. You can make your own way, and you won't be beholden to anyone else when you invest in real estate.
Good perspective.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time. I was a coug. I drank and partied my way out of college. I like to say I got a degree in sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It took me about 5.5 years to realize that I was not a studious person. I hated school. I couldn't do homework. Ugh, it was the worst. But I loved being a coug and I loved being in that school. So eventually I ended up in the fast food restaurant space, which was where a lot of people go when they drop out of high school or drop out of college and they don't have a whole lot of skills or ideas. And I spent almost 15, 20 years in the fast food, quick service restaurant management. I quickly moved up into management, and by the end of my career in quick service restaurants, I was managing a small franchise in California as the director of operations. And I'd gone as high as I could go because I tell it like it is. I don't play politics. And when dumb bigwigs come in and tell me how to do my job, I tell them to go take a leap off a cliff. So
I was going to say, did you ever consider opening your own franchise? Joe just reached out. We're going to have a franchise group on the podcast, hopefully, if they respond to us. We just reached out to one. Did you ever think about buying your own franchise, or were you like, screw that, because then they're still telling me what to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, the great thing about a franchise is that you've got, and it applies directly to real estate, right? You pay someone to give you a set of directions and operating guidelines on how to have a successful business. And they've already proven the track record. They've already shown that they know what they're doing. And then you pay them an immense amount of money. Usually you've got like a 5% franchising fee, and then you've got like a 3.5% marketing fee, and then you've got a local market. Anyway, by the end, the people who are making money are the franchisors and not the franchisees. But when it comes to real estate, it's a great play because it's a tax. You can write most of it off as a tax loss and have a cash positive business. So if you're looking for some estate planning and tax planning, opening up a low cost franchise, especially a food franchise, is a great place to take some tax losses against your earnings in real estate. But talk to your CPA.
Yep. So
go ahead.
No, keep going.
So I was working up here for the local franchisee. He was one of the biggest franchisees in the food space. I'm not going to advertise them because they're evil. And I told the wrong guy that he was dumb, and I was trying to move up into upper management, and they locked me out. So I had a friend in the same franchise system down in Vegas, and they're like, "Why don't you come work for us? We'll move you up. We'll double your salary. We'll double your bonuses. You can come to Vegas." And that was 2009, 10-ish. And I was like, that's awesome. Real estate down there is like 20 cents on the dollar on what it is in Seattle. So I was like, time to move. Picked up everything, moved down to Vegas. Spent a year looking at properties and talking to my mom and going, "Mom, oh man, I gotta buy some of these." But I couldn't because my credit was in the Esser. I had like a 520 credit score because no one had ever taught me how to manage my money or manage my credit. And, I just didn't like to pay bills. So it was a terrible time. And one weekend, she called me up. My mom called me up and she said, "Hey, I'm at the airport. I'm tired of listening to you talking about buying real estate. I've already made an appointment with a realtor. And before I fly out on Sunday night, we are going to put an offer in on one of these fourplexes that you keep talking about."
Wow. Good old mom.
Yeah, right? The thing that I needed. Yeah. And if you ever met her, she comes up occasionally and I drag her.
I have met her.
Yeah, she's the nicest person, but the phone calls where she yells at me just make me feel terrible.
So let's talk about that. So keep going. Well, we're going to ask you about your mom afterwards. So now you and mom made an offer?
Yeah. So we made an offer. We didn't get that one, but over the course of the next year, year and a half, we submitted probably an offer a week on a fourplex. And in Vegas at the time, almost everything was a short sale. So we figured we identified properties that we could own, that we wanted to own, and we're in places that we thought were good. And then we just waited for the banks to come back with approval. We put down as little as we could on EMDs, as low as $500, just to lock in the contract. And it was just a waiting game. And our longest one took us 18 months. It was one of the first ones that we made an offer on. Took 18 months to get the bank approval and get to closing. And then we had one that took 3 weeks from the time we made the offer to closing. And both of those actually closed within a week of each other. And that was a stressful week.
Wow.
But we bought some fourplexes, and we learned a lot about being landlords and dealing with tenant classes and the Vegas market. Eventually, I quit my job. I moved home with mom. She lived in sunny California. I was living in one of the fourplexes before I moved to California, so I was doing a whole house hack thing. I moved back home at the age of 34, 35 with mom, because we were getting ready to sell everything and we were going to move up and we were going to buy something big. And it'd just be easier if we were all in the same town and ready to fly out at a moment's notice. So we spent 2 years looking around, trying to get things under contract, but we discovered that you can't go from a fourplex to 100-unit apartment complex. It's a very difficult step to make. And unless you know the right people or you have a better community than we did in California, it's hard to make that step as a single individual. I mean, you can make that step with syndications and things like that. But
why? What's the hard about that step? Is it finding the deal, getting access to the deals, or the money, or just the
it's the financing. The banks won't. The banks. Oh, you own some single. Everyone says multifamily, but a fourplex in the bank size, as some of us know, is still a single family house. And they look at you and say, "Oh, well, no, that wasn't 16 units that you had, or 20 units, or how many ever units. That was 4 single family houses, and you're not experienced enough to get $1.5 million loan for a 100-unit apartment complex. You don't have, we don't trust you."
I'm glad you're mentioning that, because at the end of this podcast, we're going to let you all know, all you guys listening, how here at Seattle Investors Club, we're going to introduce you to somebody here in June that is actually going to make it possible for you to go from a 4-unit or 16 units or whatever to 100 units. And we'll tell you guys about that here at the end of the podcast. But yeah, it's all about being in the right community and knowing the right people and finding the right partners, and good experience though to go through not being able to have a success, because that's how we learn, right? Sometimes we learn the most from failures.
I fail a lot. So,
well, that's why you're so smart, man.
Yeah, well, that has helped. So we tried the multifamily route, and that wasn't a big success. I moved back up to Seattle because I was tired of not being rained on every day. I'd missed the rain, and I missed the greenery, and Nevada's a desert, and California is usually a desert, even when you're living on the beach. So I moved back.
Were you guys in Southern California or Northern?
No, Santa Cruz.
Oh, Santa Cruz, right on. I'm from Alabama.
See?
Not too far away.
Yeah. Well, Aptos, whatever. Aptos, Santa Cruz. Once you get over the Santa Cruz Mountains, it's all the same. To most people, unless you say Monterey, and then people are, oh, Monterey, awesome.
So now you're in Seattle.
Yeah, back in Seattle. Saw a meetup group, went to it. It was their first one. Met Kevin Carbon and Tiffany Plovey, and we decided that we needed to have a meetup group, and we created the Cascadia Investors Alliance, which is just all about socializing and getting to know other investors in a relaxed setting.
I've been to your meetup several times. Super fun. Usually in the evening, right, at a bar or somewhere. People are just having drinks and networking and talking shop. You have some high quality experienced people. It's a good mix of people there. Do you guys have those every month?
So we've gone through some changes. We're down to 2 meetings right now. Kevin and Tiffany have stepped back. Their life priorities have changed as they can't go to Jerusalem like Joe and manage a meeting. So it's just about I don't even like to call it networking so much. It's just like a social hour where your friends like to talk about real estate, because we all go to parties or dinners, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh God, these people are boring because they're not talking about real estate. Come on.
Right.
Right? We've all been there.
Same thing with you should stop by our weekly Tuesday meetup. It's basically just we're hanging out. We have no agenda, and we just talk, and everybody there wants to talk about real estate, and we solve everybody's problems, and we swap deals, and it's really it's been absolute surprise to me how awesome more of the small group kind of hangout sessions are. There's room for both the big ones and the little ones, but I'm sure enjoying these more casual, no presentation, social and networking, smaller groups is what I'm enjoying these days. So we're going to twist. I'm going to drag you over to one of ours. I don't think you've stopped by yet. So shame on you.
So the problem is you don't have beer. I mean, if there was beer involved.
We have it at a brewery. People are drinking beers. They're just drinking them at noon to 2 instead of at night. We got the real drinking crowd.
That is my kind. Oh man, now I'm mad I haven't been there.
Hanging with us. That's right.
Got to find an Uber to take me down there.
So what are you spending most of your time on right now these days? Like what's your investment focus? And I know you're doing a lot of inspections for investors. I don't know, do you do many retail, that end stuff, or are you doing just mainly front end retail investor inspections and stuff? Tell me about that.
So 90% of my inspections are for investors, and I tend to do front end and back end. So when they buy, I'm going through and giving them a checklist of things that would be called out on the back end.
Right.
to make sure that it gets done. And then on the back end, I do a pre-listing inspection so that they can offer that to the potential buyer so that they can create more of a competitive situation where no one feels like they need to have an inspection contingency. I still recommend.
It's a great idea to do that. I know a lot of savvy investors absolutely doing that. Do you find, are you giving any written reports on the front end so they can help them get a price reduction, or are you doing all verbals mainly?
It depends. So for an investor, I've got just a flat rate. And some investors will be like, I got to beat these guys up on this. I need a full report, and they get the full report. Other investors are like, I just need a hit list of things that I need to do. I don't have, I don't care. I've already got it locked in at the right price. Just tell me what I need to do. And they get like a 2-page summary and the 600 or 700 photos that I take on a Google photo album. Yeah. So,
do you find that are some investors not buying the properties after you do the inspection, or the majority just, do you ever find stuff, or how often do you find stuff and people are like, forget it, I'm not, they have to walk away from the deal because what you found, or is it more just they use it to negotiate the price down?
Let me break that up. We've got our newbie investors who are emotionally invested in their first purchase and their first flip, and those are the ones I like the most because I can help guide and give advice. And the problem I have is that when I point out problems that are probably beyond the scope of their abilities to handle, they still buy it. And then we see these investors that lose money and they talk trash about investing, and they never come back because they failed, because they didn't listen.
That actually puts you in a unique position because you know everybody, and you could be in a position to bridge the gap there and connect them with a more experienced investor, and then get in the deal yourself for making that referral. Have you thought about that? I need to talk to you.
That's a conflict of interest because as an inspector, I'm licensed with the state. I've got conflict of interest there. So, and then I've got some pretty big and aggressive investors who they don't care. They just want, they're not afraid of anything. They just don't want to get to closing and have the buyer find something and then delay their closing process. So that's the key that a lot of the more experienced investors are looking for, right? Because oftentimes I'll have an investor who calls me out because they don't know why their property hasn't sold, and we do an inspection. But because, as an agent, agents don't let you look at the inspection report because then you have to disclose, right? So, right. So I go out there and I'm like, you got massive foundation problems. And that pushes, not only have they lost 2 or 3 weeks being on the market, but now they're losing another 2 weeks to get foundations fixed. And their hard money costs have racked up. And so I've done a lot of those, and a lot of those come from 2 or 3 certain agencies that are big in the.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what the lesson here is, guys, is that you just need to build the cost of an inspection into your underwriting. I mean, the most experienced investors that Troy and I know are doing this. So there's a shortcut for you. We just saved you a lot of pain and heartache, and take the advice of the experienced people here and make this part of your flow. I mean, there's absolutely no reason not to do that, Save yourself. What's the craziest inspection experience you've ever had? Like, what's the scariest or weirdest or freakiest? And then what's the funniest?
There's this house on rent in Renton that a lot of investors wanted me to go check out, like all in a row. Like, so I went out one time. It's an abandoned house, and it's 60s era split level. We all know what they look like. I get upstairs and I go to walk into the living room, and there's a hole in the floor and a hole in the roof, and water's just pouring through. Probably the scariest, because I was kind of afraid that there was people living in there, or, a drug den or whatever. But
Right.
A lot of things don't worry me about houses. Everything can be fixed, and I have never walked in on a human dead body. I've seen cats, dogs, rats, birds, you name the small animal, and I've seen it as a mummy in the crawl space or the attic. Funniest, just actually this last weekend, I broke a garage door.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was embarrassing and hilarious at the same time. Like, I went there, I put my hand out, and I was like, "Stop! Don't close!" And it just crumbled.
Oh no.
Fortunately, very experienced agent, very experienced investor, and 3 phone calls and 20 minutes later, the garage door guy's out there fixing it. They weren't even, this is an off-market deal. The home buyers leaving on Sunday to go. They can't leave the house unsecured. I'm just like, oh my God, what did I do? But that's.
Well, I guess if you do enough of those, it seems almost like par for the course that might happen. I have a funny story. It's not a home inspection story, but I tell it because I think it's so damn funny. It's more of a sewer inspection story. I was at this house. It's just a vacant house in the basement. The sewer inspector guy had to pull the toilet, and we were doing the sewer inspection. And I was looking to buy this house over by Green Lake. And we go down there, and he gets done with the inspection, this and that. And he's, as he's pulling out his, whatever they use, the snake stuff for the sewer inspection, he says, he shows me the video, and he says, "You see this right here on this little bend? There's this hole here. And then if you look over here," I'm thinking, "Oh man, dang it. There's another hole here." And then he shows me, and then there's like, if you see over here, there's like this crack. And I'm thinking to myself, God damn it, because I really want to buy this house. But now all of a sudden this sewer bill is going to be huge because it's not good news how to fix it. So I'm standing there and there's nobody around, just me and this guy, sewer inspection guy. And I go, God dang it. So you're saying that I got 2 holes in a crack? Just like, you guys get it? 2 holes in a crack. I thought that him and I looked at each other, and we tried not to laugh, but we just started busting up laughing. That's my dirty little joke for the day.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, let's get on to some other stuff. So what kind of investing or craftiness are you up to with your own investing these days?
So right now, today, we're focused on, we've got a manufactured home flip that we're doing. Should be done next week. And then we're looking at large mobile home parks out of state. We're looking 100 to 200 space mobile home parks.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, we've been we almost got to closing on the last one, but sellers can be unrealistic sometimes, just like buyers can be. And so it's all a game of finding the right one and finding the one that hits your numbers. And
so we were talking, I don't know who I was talking to about kind of getting popular is trying to pick up just like dirt and then go put a mobile home new or used, I guess, on it, even though I guess that means you might have to put septic in or do all that stuff. Are you feeling that craze starting to ramp up, or am I?
For like a single family, or?
So instead of, yes, exactly. So instead of doing like a single family flip, people are looking for dirt out wherever that they can put a mobile on, and either keep it as a rental or sell it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not enough attention to. I just heard somebody talking about it.
Manufactured homes are terrible for rentals, just because the subpar. Everyone thinks that the material's subpar, but the subpar is built for what it's intended, and it's not intended for the wear and tear that a renter puts on it. It needs a little bit more love, so I wouldn't do that. But if in most cases these days, you're going to get a better return just doing a modular home instead of a manufactured home. And it's going to add a little bit of a uniqueness factor to the home instead of being a manufactured home. And they're price equivalent.
Are there any local modular home groups, or is that all out of state? Are those kits, or how do you get those?
Yeah, I mean, you can. There are a couple of manufacturers locally. I'm not very familiar with the space. I just know that the numbers are very similar in the purchase and the setup price. Modular homes just have a little less regulations than the manufactured homes. So
that's a fun topic. Maybe we'll have to get somebody on to talk about that. That sounds interesting. I know that some of our friends, speaking of, I guess they're not modular, so I'll skip what I was about to say. But
hey guys, Joe here. I just want to take this super quick break from the action to let you know something that we have really cool to offer you guys. As you know, marketing is the lifeblood of our real estate business, and Julie and I spend a ton of money sending out postcards and letters to people all around the Seattle area. We've partnered up with YellowLetters.com to get you guys 10% off all of your marketing needs at Yellow Letters. All you have to do is go to YellowLetters.com, and when you check out, use the code Seattle Investors Club, and you'll get 10% off any of your marketing needs at YellowLetters.com. You can send postcards, letters, whatever it may be that YellowLetters.com has, so that you can keep your marketing engine running for a little less money. So go to YellowLetters.com, use the code Seattle Investors Club with no spaces, and get your marketing going today. All right, let's get back to the action.
So do you like investing better in mobile homes or single family or like fourplexes? Which would you rather, Troy?
Oh, what would I rather? I'd rather just be rich and financially independent and not need to worry about what my investments are doing.
There you go.
No. So right. Everyone's got their different goals and philosophies. So I'm investing so that mom doesn't, mom's 72. And she likes to travel. She likes to travel like Joe does, but I've got to support her doing that. So my goals are vastly different than someone who loves their job at Amazon and they just want to have a great retirement. Like my little brother. My little brother works for Amazon making six figures, and he's happy buying $1.5 million triplexes in Seattle because he's not worried about the cash flow today. He's worried about what his lifestyle is going to be in 20 or 30 years. Whereas I'm like, well, mom wants to be in, where's she going next? She's going to Lisbon. She wants to go to Lisbon for 5 weeks. So guess who gets to pay for that?
Well, there you go. That's awesome though. You're right. That, a successful investor is somebody who just pursues and achieves their own personal goals, right? In life or investing or whatever. I get tired of all the fluff of, how many people do this or that or what they do or how many deals they do, because it really doesn't matter. I mean, if your goal is to do one deal a year and you do one deal a year, your goal is to, create $3,000 a month of cash flow and you do that, you're a massive success, right? In my eyes. And in every, there is no definition. It's all, like you said, individual. It's all personal. I think, where people fail is they don't set those goals, or they don't have a clear definition of what they're trying to achieve. And then they just flail all around a little bit. I know, that happens to me too. It happens to everybody.
Oh yeah. I love to flail.
Flailing is part of the fun. So
Yeah.
let's see, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about maybe let's jump into the credit stuff. Or let me say this one first. I saw on one of your threads, you mentioned the 3 key attributes you think maybe like a partner needs to bring to the table if they want to get in a deal with you guys or with you, and you named hustle, cash, and credit. You can talk to me about that. Give me your perspective on what I just said there.
Oh, well, I mean, those are the 3 things that that's what you need to be an investor. Those 3 things. You need to have hustle, you need to have cash, and you need to have credit. Everything's going to be valued differently. Someone who's got the cash. I actually had an interesting conversation with Jan about this, and we were at different ends of the spectrum. In traditional investing, which I believe in, cash is king. The guy who's got the cash gets to define the details of the partnership, because that is the hardest asset to acquire. Credit is the second hardest. That person gets, in a typical syndication that David Lindahl talks about, the credit partner gets like 3.5%. The hustle guy gets 3.5%. The sponsor gets 3.5%, and then all the cash partners get the rest of the business. So just being able to say, I've got a credit score, or I've got enough loans, or I've got the right loans to be able to sign on the dotted line, or I've got the liquidity to sign on the dotted line, that's worth 3 to 5% of any deal. The guy who's going to go find the deal, they're getting screwed because they don't have, in general, they don't have those other things. They're hustling to get it made in real estate, and they've got a bigger drive, but they get the 3.5% for finding a deal, right? And then the cash partner comes in with his big wallets like me, and they say, "Oh, well, thanks for doing all the hard work, guys. I'm gonna write some checks, and let's take this deal to closing." And I get the bulk of the deal. So Jan assigns a much different philosophy to it. He thinks that the hustler gets a lot bigger part of the deal, and I can see the argument in that. But
I think it depends on the need of the opposite partner and how they perceive that, right? So then when you're out networking, if you're the type that thinks that, if you're on Jan's mindset, then you're purposefully networking to find your opposite partner who complements, your beliefs, right? Because not everybody who has credit, or not everybody who has hustle, or not everybody who has cash is the right match. You're making a really excellent point. You have to find people that have the opposite skill sets or opposite things they're bringing to the table, yet the same mindset, I guess, right? Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah. I mean, partnerships are hard. Even investing with your own mother can be hard. I could probably name 6 or 7 people in the community that people know that also invest with their moms, and we all have different experiences. It's crazy, but partnerships are hard.
In general, right? Family in general. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer to invest with family, because at least I know the way that I interact with my family will always come to a conclusion, and no one's feelings are going to be hurt. But when mom calls me up and tells me that I haven't done my homework like it's high school, I hate investing with family.
Awesome stuff. Let's jump on to some other stuff that you have ninja advice on, which is building credit. So tell us real quick for everybody who's listening that might not, definitely me included in that crowd. I'll say as we kick off this little topic discussion here that I find that people jump into real estate absolutely freaking backwards, right?
I agree.
And they know nothing about debt or credit or money or finance or anything. They go to a guru course or watch TV or whatever, even just go to a local meetup. And now all of a sudden, I think going to your local meetup, you have a chance. You have a chance of starting the right way if you get into the right crowd, which definitely I'll say that, Cascadia Investors Alliance, Seattle Investors Club, all our local clubs here, you're in the right crowd. I mean, they all do a great job. But people...
Yeah, most of them. I'd say there are a couple that are the wrong place to go, but yeah.
Well, people can contact you separately, and maybe you'll tip them off on that. But you shouldn't start with, I'm going to be a wholesale. You guys need to start with learning about debt and credit and leverage and financing and what debt lane you're in, what your borrowing capacity is, and for God's sakes, don't quit your job. And don't plan on quitting your job, because there's even people that we know that are super experienced that go back and get a job just to enhance their borrowing capacity, and so Troy here is a ninja, just so well spoken on the credit building. So for those of you that don't know much about that, how does a personal credit score work different than a business credit score? Just as a quick little overview on that,
So most investors and most listeners will never get to the point where they need a business credit score. So that's not a conversation worth having, I don't think.
Okay.
The personal credit score, it's the keys to the gate. If you want to own the castle, you've got to have a credit score. Debt. People will praise Dave Ramsey, but Dave Ramsey's methodology is set there to help people who have trouble controlling their own actions and say, that's terrible, that's bad. But when you get rid of that debt in the way that he tells you to, you've destroyed your credit score. And then you have to buy everything with cash, and then you can't leverage up, and then you can't go to the next level because you've got to wait. If you've got if you've got a house that's paid off, renting in say Renton at $2,200 a month, paid off, to buy the next one to generate another $500,000. I don't even know. I can't even do the calculations. It's like 10 years worth of rent payments, assuming you don't have any other maintenance costs or anything else to be able to buy your next one. You're never going to get wealthy that way.
So what the overview here we're saying is that you don't want to have everything paid off. You need to have some credit that you can show that is being used so you can continue to borrow more money, right?
Right. I mean, debt is a tool. It's a way to earn more money, and it's a way to acquire larger properties. And if you look at it, if you look at it, it's the way that you get your dang it, now I lost it.
Credit utilization score. That's one thing you were talking about, is your credit utilization rate. That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So credit utilization score is basically just your credit card and any personal lines of credit that you may have, personal loans, mortgages, car loans. Those things are included in your utilization score. Basically, it says your credit cards have a credit limit. They say this is how much you can put on the credit card, a personal line of credit the same way, a HELOC kind of the same way. They're all an available amount of credit. Your utilization score is basically how much of that possible amount of credit have you used. And all the articles that you read on the internet are terrible. They say keep it below 30%. Well, yeah, definitely keep your utilization below 30%. But if you keep it down below 5%, every 5 to 7%, you see an increase in your credit score. And you need to make sure that that needs to be spread out over all of your cards. So you can't have, say you've got a $10,000 credit limit, you've got 2 cards, both with $5,000. If you've got that $30,000 or $3,000 on one card and 0 on the other one, you're gonna take a credit hit because you've used up more than what you should on the one card. That 30% should be spread over all of your open credit lines and not a single credit line.
How many credit cards do you think people should have?
I have 12. I think it's based on your needs, and having credit cards is a whole different game. You can be a travel hacker. You can be a point accumulator. You can have ones that have got 0, like the Home Depot card. I love the Home Depot card for Flip because I can finance all of my materials purchase for 6 months, right? I can go in, I can say, here's my $20,000 Home Depot credit card, just buy all the materials. And then I don't come out of pocket 0% finance for 6 months on that purchase. That's a great play for me. Most flips require more than that, but I specialize and that's what I need. And then there's balance. There's so many things you can do with credit cards. We were just having a discussion about people needing to borrow like $10,000, $15,000 to get a flip to close. If you're an investor and you don't have credit cards that you can take $10,000 to $15,000 in cash advances out of, you're probably doing it wrong, and you're probably teetering on the edge of disaster. You should have that liquidity so that you don't end up bankrupt. Take that one thing away. Have liquidity in real estate investing so that you don't end up bankrupt.
And for people that don't have a lot of credit cards or just easy ways to start, using those, I read somewhere that you said get a Home Depot card, right? Get a gas card, pay them off every month, and get, based on your current spending habits, and get rewards. And what's the strategy there? So you're living your life. You want to be an investor. You just told us that we need to have a credit card or 2 that we can use to keep out of the danger zone when, the real estate roller coaster happens. Getting started for people. There's a lot of people out there, even experienced people. I am nowhere the ninja. I'm reading that stuff that you guys talk about, and I am like, holy shit, I am the biggest dumbass on the planet, right? I know some things, but I definitely am not a ninja at all that stuff. You should write you should have your own blog or something about that, because you're so good at it. And if you guys want to, like I said, if you want to see all this stuff that Troy talks about, it's absolutely amazing. Join WARE and jump on there and, search for Troy Fisher and read all the stuff that he posts, because it could, I don't want to toot your own horn there, Troy, but it could change people's lives. Some of the advice that you are giving on how to manage that, or how to start that, or how to go about that. And there's so many other smart people also in the discussion. It is mind-blowing what you guys can learn off just watching that and being on the outsides of learning on that. Let me ask you something along that line. Is there something different between reported versus unreported credit cards? what is there anything you can tell me on that, or does that make any sense?
Yeah. So like a Macy's card or a furniture card, or even like that when you go and buy a new phone from Google and they say, hey, you want to finance this? Those cards are, they're not lines of credit. They're credit cards, and they report like credit cards. But as soon as you no longer carry a balance on it, they stop reporting to the credit agencies, and that's terrible, because you've taken usually you've taken a hit to your credit score because you've had a credit inquiry, and the benefit doesn't show up. So I'd say, I've got a couple of those.
You're saying that we want to have cards that do report to the credit.
Yeah. If your card doesn't report, it's not a card that you want, because you want lenders look at your credit report to figure out whether you deserve to get more credit. And so if your credit report's not reporting, if your card's not reporting to your credit agencies, then it's useless, and you're paying interest rates or fees or what have you to maintain something that doesn't benefit you in the long run, unless it's a super specialized. Like I've got a Firestone credit card that I use. They don't report once it's paid off, but again, they finance all my car repairs for 6 months for 0% interest. So for me, that's
there's
the best.
Investors out there. I mean, I might even fall in that boat where you think that you don't want a bunch of credit cards for whatever reason, that you weren't taught about how to use your credit cards properly, and then maybe you are able to live debt free or close to debt free, and then when you go try and borrow some money, you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm like super qualified, but I can't get my limits up. It's because you don't show enough activity, because you're paying cash for everything, right? That's happening.
Yeah. And if you want to be that person, you want to be debt free, but you want to have that credit availability, the best thing to do is to set up your credit cards to pay for recurring bills, or there's even some strategies where people will just buy an Amazon gift, have it set to automatically buy a $5 Amazon gift card, because it's got to be over $5, or sometimes the credit card agencies will not report it, or charge you interest on it, or even ask for the money back. So keep that in mind. Usually there's a $5 limit, but you do that once a month, have all your credit cards buy you an Amazon gift card once a month, and then you pay off, the small dollar amounts, and you show activity, you show low utilization, you grow your age of card. And that's a great way to do it, to have liquidity, to show liquidity when you're going to purchase things. And you know what? That, like I said before, that credit could be worth 3 to 5% of a big deal, or any deal. If someone just says, I need a cosigner to purchase this, will you be the cosigner? You say, great, I've got an awesome credit score. Yeah, let's do it.
What is somebody, so that's an interesting whole nother topic right there. Give us just a second on that. Like, so you're the savior, you're the credit partner. Does that mean that you're actually in a partnership, or how does that work?
Yeah. Well, just like time and money are an asset, your credit score is an asset. So when you're contributing that asset to the purchase of another asset, you should be in a partnership, and you should have partnership agreements and LLCs or whatever entity structure you choose to have. But
that's a great way for people who don't have any experience but have great credit, right?
Yeah.
To ride along with experienced investors, or of course, do your due diligence. And, you guys should all be part of a local real estate investment club, or 2 or 3 of them. And, before you do business with anybody, always get referrals or run it by people to make sure that you're dealing with somebody that's legit, I think is a good idea. But what a great introduction. Some people don't have a lot of cash, but they have a lot of credit.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. If you're got a car, you usually have a credit score. If you've got a mortgage, you usually have a credit score. The one thing I'd say about that, if you're going to be using your credit as a credit partner, this is where scams happen. It's a very scammy space. So everyone needs to be on title. Everyone needs to be open and honest. And if someone doesn't want to be on title or have an entity agreement and they just want your credit, but you're going to be on title, don't do it. Do not do it.
You know what's crazy is I actually get people calling me all the time. Like, hey, this guy's approached me and he's a big contractor and he listened to this and, he wants me to get the loan. He wants me to get the loan and I'm like, don't do it. Yes. Talk to somebody experienced, call Troy, call myself before you ever get into a partnership where you're committing your credit or anything. If you want to call myself, and I know Troy, you're probably available to people. I mean, I'm the guy down here, but I'm available to all you guys. If you ever have any questions, and if I feel like I can't answer it, I'll call Troy. You know what I mean? But these are all super awesome tips. Do you have any, as we're getting ready to wind down here, what would be like if somebody's just getting started on their financial hack or, credit building? What do you think the first one or two things somebody should do? Would that be, obviously we're talking about real estate investing, so we'll stay in that world. Would that be like, just go get a Home Depot card? You could use that for your own personal stuff. I mean, right? Or
yeah. Oh yeah. So if you're again, just like everything else, it depends. But the Home Depot credit card is a great way, usually very easy to get easy approval. The other one that is great is a Discover card. Discover is a great program for people starting, and they review your credit usage every 6 months and automatically do credit limit increases. So that's a fantastic place. Those two cards really helped me start building my credit back up, and that's what people talk about using to get credit. And then you can also start building business credit with the business line credit card with Home Depot, but most people won't ever need to use that. So
where'd you learn all this stuff? Like, what was your source of education? Were you just reading? I mean, you just said that the articles you read are not actually accurate on the advice they're giving. How did you learn all this stuff, or where do you get your information from? From your mom? From mom?
No. Oh God, no. No, mom's been through financial hardship. Like I said, when I was in Vegas, I had terrible 520 credit score. It's been a battle. I've used a couple credit repair agencies. There's a local one that I'd recommend, but they're super expensive. And I use them. I'm paying them $170 a month to manage the small things. But you can do some research, but don't research how to raise your credit score. You need to research things like, and that's how I did it. I did it through research and reading articles. Get your 3 major credit reporting websites set up. Credit Karma, Wallet Hub, and NerdWallet are the top 3. I check every one every week. It updates, and then you can see and watch how every activity modifies your credit score.
Is that how you learn then, just by watching your own stuff and trying new things and things like that?
There was some articles, and you've got to dig deep for those articles, and you have to get on the forums where people are talking about credit repair.
Or you can just get
Um,
on Laurie, guys, and listen to Troy and Albert and some
yeah,
of our other smart friends. I mean, everybody these days has a shortcut that I feel like we have such a great investing community here of a bunch of smarty pants that if you just engage in the conversation, and that'll give you a good head start into, what you can then further investigate on your own, right?
yep.
Um,
A warning, if you do engage, I might call you stupid, but I don't mean it. I'm just trying to call you out so that you think about what you posted, because I'm not just going to say, hey, you're stupid. I'm going to say, hey, you're stupid because, but people don't,
don't be
I
afraid,
call
guys.
people out.
It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
in fun. Don't be
I'm
afraid.
I'm a jerk. I can be a jerk, but I'll call you out on it. But that doesn't mean that you're not, you just have to learn those things. And it's just a method that I use to help people realize that it's not all roses. This is a tough business. It can change your life for the better or for the worse. And, the last thing we want to see is people fail.
But
Because
we
it can
certainly
affect.
need somebody that's putting it in people's faces. So I agree with you. We need people that are going to call out the stupid shit and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I hear you don't like to read real estate books.
I mean, if someone could recommend one that didn't have anything that wasn't already said in another 100 books, I might be interested in looking at it. But you don't want to get. I don't think that after you've read the first book or the first 5 books, you're just going to be reading the same thing, and then you're going to be stuck in this trap of not actually learning anything, but just reinforcing the things that you already should have learned. And if you didn't learn it by the first 5 books, you need to evaluate where you're at with your career as a real estate investor.
I think we need
my
to
personal feeling.
Conversation, and throw some books out there to people that are about debt and financing and credit and all that. I mean, it's almost like if you learn all that stuff first, guys, if you learn what we're talking about here with Troy today first, before you do any real estate investing, not only will you win, but you'll win a lot quicker, right? I think.
Yeah, I could see. I think the most important thing to do is to define your goals. First, you need to define your goals, and those goals need to be based on reality, and they need to be based on what you have and your knowledge level. And then you need to go out and find your first deal. I knew none of this crap when I started. I mean, I had some inklings and I'd read some dumb books, but I didn't understand anything until I was under contract on my first deal, and my whole world exploded on me. So now we've got a community, your meetup, my meetup, Wari, where when your deal starts blowing up, there are people who will jump in and help you save it or help you point out why it was a mistake so that you can move on and go on to your next one.
And I'll let you guys know that that's available to you every Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. with our weekly Small Table Restaurant Mastermind. People come down there, they have a challenge or a question on their deal. You got 15 people, 20 people with experience of all different experiences focused 100% on you right there.
Yeah.
Solving the problem with you together. I don't know where else you can go like that, but it is remarkably freaking awesome. So if anybody tells you they have a real estate problem, send them to us, and we will. I will say that we will do a great job trying to help you solve that problem as a group, not just me or Troy or one person, but as a group, a collective experience, small group, focused 100% on you. It's super, super rad. So Troy, we're going to wrap it up here. So what do you do for fun aside from beat everybody up who posts stupid, dumb comments?
Wow. We travel. We travel a lot. One of my life goals is to travel once a quarter. The girlfriend appreciates that because we get to go fancy places, and most of that's paid by credit card travel points. So that's why I'm big on the credit cards. So yeah, travel. We've got a couple places to go left this year. We're not Joe level travel, but we'll get there maybe.
None of us. Yeah. We all aspire to be Joe level travel, right? So
right.
Who's your favorite credit card for travel points, or is that too broad of a question?
The Chase Sapphire Reserve, and the new Amex just came out with one. I'm not in the position to be opening up new credit cards right now because I'm getting financing for stuff. So, but the new Amex that just came out is a travel rewards that really upped the game. I think it goes up to 5 times your purchases. And it's got a better redemption than the Chase Sapphire. It's what I've read. I don't know. I haven't gotten too far into it, so your mileage may vary. But the Chase Sapphire's hands down reserve is hands down one of the best, has been, will continue to be. And if you want one, I will give you a referral code so that I can get extra credit miles.
Awesome. Can we post that on the notes on the
Sure.
Can we post it on the notes of the podcast? You give that to Joe, and that referral rewards thing will be down there for you. People can grab it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
We can do that. Yeah.
Let's do it. Joe, you'll collect that from Troy and we'll post it on there. How about do you have a favorite credit union? I hear that VECU people talk about, but maybe he's not in favor 100% all the time. Any credit
union? What? My main business, all my main business accounts are actually run through Wells Fargo. Really? For the top level domain of the entity structure, a national bank is the way to operate. If you want to have a big business, you want to have a bank that is used to dealing with businesses. Credit unions, so if when we go to buy a mobile home park, the mobile home park owning entity will be banked through a local credit union because the rates on that are better and the relationships are better. But going back up to the main entity, I want to be able to access my money wherever I am. I want to know that there's a national network of me being able to walk into a bank and screaming at someone when something goes wrong and having them take care of me. You can't do that I can't be on vacation in New York and go to the BECU and be like, what, these checks are bouncing, what's going on? Why, banking is a whole different subject. Wow. There's so many things we can talk about.
There is, man. I'm telling you, you should either write a book or start your own blog about this, because you're super talented in that and you're well spoken and well written. So I'm going to be your cheerleader for that. I know gets into your busy schedule, but I
did a blog for like 4 years, and I was super active on BP, but I don't know. It's just not.
Maybe you came before your time. I think now I think now people respect and know that you're a guy that knows all this stuff, and you have kind of street cred and a following. Hopefully, even more so after today, is what I'm talking about. So, well, let's wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up here. And so, for all of you guys who are looking for a awesome home inspector, which we highly recommend before you're buying your deals or after you've finished your projects, to do a double check, you can hook up with Troy at Lanika Home Inspection Services. Do you want to give a shout out on how people might be able to reach out to you for a home inspection?
Yeah, 425-689-5344, call or text. You can also, I hate it, but everyone seems to think that they can contact me on Facebook. You can do that, but I'm going to roll my eyes at you. Call or text is the best way to get a hold of me. And I also do sewer scope Julie, just in case. So I include that. That's my one upsell that I do, so that you don't have to book both people or go back and have it done. So
super awesome.
And I go from Bellingham all the way down to I did Chehalis last month. So
wow.
I'll go anywhere for investors, flat fee. And if you've heard of the Flipper, I've probably done an inspection for them.
Right. No problem on getting good recommendation and reviews of Troy, guys.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. So I'm going to twist your arm and beg you to come to our Tuesday meetup, because I think that you will have so much to contribute. You're going to be shocked and surprised at how awesome it is to participate in the setting that we've got going on. And of course, all of you guys are also invited. 100% free one-on-one mentoring and coaching. We have it where it is a Seattle Investors Club event. Anybody can come for the first 2 times, absolutely for free. And then after that, we ask you to engage a little bit through Seattle Investors Club. You can buy a ticket, a one-off ticket if you want to come, super cheap after that. Or of course, always join us and just become an annual member of Seattle Investors Club. Just go to seattleinvestorsclub.com and push join. If you want to buy a ticket because you've already been there a few times and you're not ready to join an annual membership, which is not very expensive at $220 a year, totally worth it. You'll come and get 1% free coaching and mentorship and camaraderie. And when we have laughs, you can drink a beer, you can eat lunch, and it's from 12 to 2 every single Tuesday in Burien at the Elliott Bay Brew House and Pub. That is our current location. The word's getting out a little bit. The goal is to keep it a little bit, not super huge because of the power that's happening with kind of a smaller group size. So I might break it up into a few different locations. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, make sure that you guys get on our email list by just joining Seattle Investors Club either on Facebook. We ask you a few questions. One of those is your email, and then we'll grab that and you'll be getting our notifications of meetings. And also our weekly event is on Meetups. Just look up Seattle Investors Club on the Meetups site, and you'll be good to go there. But I hope to see you guys all there. I especially hope to see you there, Troy. You actually have a lot of friends and know people that do come to that event, so it'll be fun for you as well. And if you need that noontime beer, it'll be my pleasure to buy it for you.
Oh my!
I'll even drink one with you the first time you show up. So there you go. As soon as one person buys one, there's like a chain reaction. People just start buying these beers at noon.
Yeah. Everyone's afraid to be the first guy, but not me.
First, right? If Joe was there, he'd do a push-up, and then maybe everybody will start doing push-ups.
I doubt that, but
for those of you that need to work out after all your noontime beer drinking or nighttime beer drinking with Cascade Investors Alliance with Troy, check out the Get Better Project, or is it called Get Better Project or the Get Better Project, Joe?
The Get Better Project.
The Get Better Project for all you health and fitness people out there. Captain America, my partner here, Joe Bauer, who's off in Jerusalem being blessed as we speak. Some awesome stuff going on with the Get Better Project and fun stuff to watch with the Fantastic Life. So check it all out. Let's all hang out together, have fun, be successful, support each other, and over and out. Come see me on Tuesday, guys. Troy, thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
I owe you a lunch date, and it sounds like hopefully I'll see you again soon at either your event or our event. I know that there's another event, the Meetup at Work is coming up. I don't know what the date is, but for some of our friends that like the daytime networking, there's a big event coming up sometime soon. Look it up on Meetups. It's called Meetup at Work. Troy, when do you guys have a schedule for Cascadia Investors Alliance on when the next one is, or where can they find information about that? Is that on Meetups?
Yeah, we're on Meetup. It's in Kirkland. It's on the east side the first Friday of every month at 7 p.m. Location changes. And then the last Monday of the month, we're up at Bob's Burgers and Brew in Marysville. And that one's just like your meetups where it's a small group and we solve problems.
Love it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys everybody have a great weekend since you're listening to this on, I think, a Thursday or a Friday. And hopefully we'll see you following Tuesday or at some Tuesday in the future. And other than that, over and out. Love you guys. Peace out.
One last thing, you can find all of the show notes at SeattleInvestorsClub.com/76. That's SeattleInvestorsClub.com/76. And remember, we love it when we get ratings on iTunes, and you can do that by going to SeattleInvestorsClub.com/iTunes. And last but not least, you can subscribe to this podcast for free on iTunes or Stitcher or your favorite place to listen. All right, guys, we will see you later.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.